Hey guys, today we're going to talk a little bit about Candump. Candump is a program to log and analyze CAN packets. It's a very powerful tool. It is not a graphical user interface tool, but it is very powerful if you understand its uses. Today I'm going to play a log file in the background and then utilize that log file that's being played to give you examples here. If you're not familiar, you have to have the Can-utils package. So sudo apt git install Can-utils. After that's done, you are ready to go. So I'm gonna go to the next page, and then we're gonna go ahead and set up a can player. Can1 equals can0 I grab to doctor.log. We'll go loop it infinitely and verbose. All right, cool. Now that I got it there, let's go back over here. I'm gonna clear my screen to make it easier for you to understand. So in order to interface the device, you would have to set up the can device. So sudo IP link set up can0 type can bitrate, whatever your bitrate is. If you're hooking up to like an OBD2 port, it's probably going to be 500,000. I have mine specified at 1 million for this example, so we're going to use 1 million. And IOP is not found. There we go. All right. Now that we got that situated, I can do Candump can0. This will essentially display all the information that we have, and it's getting parsed onto the screen. There's not much you can do with this information as it currently sits. It's just there, right? You hit Control-C to exit. So if we wanted to look at all the information or arguments we can add to it, you can go to the help file using candump-help. This is going to be all the information. I'll scroll up for you a little bit. So this is, you have options right here, which will be following the CAN device, and then you can also have filters. So we'll start with the timestamps. I'll just go through the timestamps real quick. Absolute delta 0 and a capital A for absolute with date. Let's do T A. There we go. So there's our timestamp in epoch time. We'll also do timestamp in delta. So that's going to be a delta time. Then we'll go to timestamp in 0 using Z. Starts at 0, works its way up. Pretty simple. And then capital A for absolute with date. Really need that. Let's see what other options we have using the help file. Boom. All right. Let's see here. Read hardware timestamps. I don't have a device that's capable of reading hardware timestamps. -C is increment color mode. What it'll do is it'll increment the color. It'll change the color based on what CAN device it comes in through. And since we can do any as our argument to have all the CAN devices spit out information, I'll show you. You can do Candump any, and that'll display all of your CAN devices if you have more than one. Since I have 2 hooked up, it shows both of them. And if I -C, now we have a colorized option for them. So Can1 is blue, Can0 is red. And that's really all it does. It just colorizes the screen. If you only have one device, it really does nothing for you. So let's go back and let's see what else we got here. -I and -A, binary output and additional ASCII output. So let's go Candump Can0 0 -I and -A. We can add. You can stack arguments, by the way. I don't know if I've made that clear. What this does is it shows the data in binary format versus the normal hexadecimal format, and also over here you have your ASCII output. So if any of these values reference ASCII characters, it'll be referenced over here. Sometimes you can find like cool things like VIN numbers and stuff. Maybe some text that goes to the multimedia center. Who knows? All right, continuing on the path. Let's see what else we got here. Swap byte order. I honestly just don't even recommend using that. It's not something I use. If you need to use it, you're already past the level of needing this tutorial. Silent mode. I also don't use that really. It's kind of not necessary for what I do. I'm usually analyzing the information directly. Bridge mode. So if you have multiple CAN devices, you can actually have you can have your devices be like CAN in the middle, as I call it. You can have one CAN device hooked up to one side of a network, and then one CAN device hooked up to the other side of the network. If you split the network in half and like isolated one node from the rest of the network, you can have all that information being passed through two CAN devices, one hooked up to the individual node, one hooked up to the rest of the network. So that'll be set up so you would do like you would go as follows. So it'd be Candump, Can0, B, Can1. And then you would also open up another terminal. You can Control-Shift-T in most cases on Debian systems and do the same thing, but vice versa. It would be Candump, Can1, B, Can0. And then you just run those in the back, and then you're bridging all the information. All right, so let's see what else we got. We got bridge with the disabled loopback, which is probably what I'd recommend using. As long as you're not sending the same packets over each other, you won't have an issue. Delaying the bridge forwarding by a specific amount of microseconds, I've never had a real need to use that, and I don't know exactly when I would, but it's there for you if you need to use it. Log CAN frames into a file. Candump -L, Can0 -L. We're logging. It's logging in the background. If I wanted to look at the data live, I could just open up another terminal and just type in Candump, Can0, and we would have that information. Control-C to exit. Now we have a log file in our home directory or whatever directory you're actually in at the time you run this command in the terminal. For instance, if you were in Mitch/documents, all of my information would be in the documents folder. Since I'm at the home screen and it's in the home directory. You can also use the log file format and standard out. I don't need to. I don't have a use for that information. It's just all it does is compact it. So if that's what you want to do, by all means go for it. The -N argument, it does come in handy. So like if you wanted to only look at like the first 100 packets, right? Candump, Can0, but we're gonna use 10 for a good example. So now you can see that the only 10 packets, the first 10 packets when I started this command have went through, and then we're done with our run. Set socket receive buffer to size. I've never had a reason to change mine, and maybe if you had issues receiving by chance, you might want to try it. And in order to look at your receive buffer, I believe it's IPS link show Can0. I believe, yeah, there it is. All right, cool. So it shows we have no errors, no drop, no overruns, no collisions on our transmit, even though we haven't transmitted anything. But that's the successor argument to ifconfig Can0. So that would be the you can use those interchangeably, but I'd recommend IPS link show Can0. All right, let's see what else we have here. Don't exit if a detected device goes down. If you're only using one device, it really doesn't matter because it's going to drop anyways. The lowercase d, it monitors drop CAN frames. Since I'm not dropping CAN frames, I don't have a good example to show you on that. Also with error frames, I don't have a good example. So you can dump the error frames in a human readable format. For some of y'all technicians that are trying to figure out where errors are coming from or what errors are coming from specific IDs on a bus, this may be beneficial to you. The -X command can be very beneficial, especially if you don't know if something's being sent or received. If you're bridging information, perhaps that can come in handy. So you can do the -X command. So I'll do any just to show you. Candump any -X. All right, and now let me cancel. So you can see that we're receiving on Can0, we're transmitting on Can1, and because I have basically. They're both hooked up on a network, and I have one transmitting all the information it's seen in a log file, and I have the other one receiving. But you can see that it's always showing that we receive, and then it also shows we transmit. So you get to see both sides of the story here based on is it receiving or is it sending. Let me see what else we got here. Let me just type in the Candump help. Terminate after a specific amount of milliseconds without any reception. You could do that, especially if you're just like going to stop the car and just want to, hey, I want to cancel the log automatically. If it doesn't see a message within 1,000 milliseconds, you go ahead and just cancel that file. So I typically only use the CANID and mask. I don't typically use the tilde to be like CANID not and CANID and mask, which is like the kind of like the not equal to. I haven't really had a need because I'm typically looking for data and not looking to exclude data, so to speak. But you can use both either interchangeably. So if you wanted to use it, we'll do, I'll just do a Can0. We'll use 312 because I know that's on the bus. So Candump, Can0, colon, 312, 7FF. And now all I have displaying on the screen is 312. So as you can see that we're only seeing 312. You can also do, like, if I wanted to do another one, is that another comma? 300 on 7FF. Now I've got 312 and 300 displaying on the bus. So you can mask everything out, or you can go, okay, like if I don't want it on the bus, right? 312 tilde, which is like, tilde is like a shift in the character both to the left of the 1. 7FF. And now we've got everything but 312. So if you want to ignore ID 312, use the tilde. If you want to only accept that, use the colon. And then you can also add arguments to that. So if you wanted to do that and you go dash I dash A dash X, oh, let me space them out, J X. There we go. Now we got our additional information at the beginning. Excuse me. You can also do timestamps with it as well if you want to do TA. There we go. Now we've got all sorts of data on the screen. We've got our timestamp. We got if we're receiving it or not, or it's transmitting, our data in binary, and an ASCII output. So man, that's a lot of information, you know. And hopefully this helps. You know, this is if you have any questions, feel free to port them to me. And I appreciate you watching.